That's what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
Okay, so now that it's been a couple of days since the initial announcement of the dilemma that I, initially had about potentially quitting YouTube and whatnot, and ultimately deciding to continue. So this video is pretty much the announcement of the overhauls that are taking place coming up here shortly. The next video will pretty much roll this out and whatnot. So with all that being said, so I kind of covered the initial, in the initial video, the last video essentially, about, the conflicts I have with management of time due to work and whatnot. So interesting thing is, Nolar is actually going through a similar issue where he's also having a lot of issues in terms of just time management, keeping up with content of YouTube uploads or whatever. So the spontaneous idea that came to mind, and we kind of discussed this last minute, was we're actually going to be working together, and we're going to start off covering Dokkan content. Obviously, he's kind of, I'm sure most of you guys know, but he's kind of the whale of the community, and obviously, the summons part, we can kind of do that, maybe summon together and whatever, and cover some of the newer information and whatever. But, initially we will start with Dokkan, and honestly, it's also kind of like the opportunity is to kind of explore other avenues of opportunities without a lack of redundancy, but just stuff that we've kind of wanted to do in the past that we never actually had the time for, right? So I think going forward, like, frequency of uploads is probably going to take a hit to some degree, but I think the centric goal of this channel going forward is essentially just quality of production versus quantity. Like a good example of this is, in the past, I remember hearing complaints about my showcases at times will not have commentary and whatnot, and trust me, like, I understand 100% where you guys came from, and nothing would satisfy me more but to provide commentary on my take of certain units on every single showcase. But now that you guys have a little bit more color as to the constant work schedule that I have, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, sometimes I simply just didn't have time to upload certain showcases with commentary. So I guess the whole point of that little example is basically this. Nolar and I are going to be working together to make sure quality of each content uploaded is up to par and up to standards of what you guys would expect. And because, we're both tackling the issues of time management, working together is going to mitigate that a little bit better. So that's pretty much the take of that. So, with that being said, with the next video coming up, we are going to be, rebranding and, changing the identity of the channel, so to speak, and, the name itself and whatever. So yeah, it's a lot of new changes, being implemented coming up. And, we've already have the first video as kind of the start of the new, new format or new rebranding of this particular channel. So yeah, it's no longer going to be a Jinroh channel, but it's going to be a combination of Nolar and I working together. And it's just funny, it almost seems like we're kind of on the same wavelength when it comes to, not just interest and stuff, but also, from a availability and scheduling standpoint. It just simply works out where it's better off to just join forces and basically cover the grounds together. So again, I kind of provided glimpses of it, but there are going to be stuff that we do want to explore in terms of like other stuff, in terms of like more, specialized, differentiated type content. And, some of the stuff will, certainly relate to Dokkan, so, we're starting off obviously with mostly Dokkan Battle content, but there are going to be other avenues basically that we are going to be, running through and potentially tackling. So I think in a nutshell, this is basically the major change, and obviously having Nolar on going forward, that is a pretty big change of the channel itself. It's more or less, him and I are going to be co-joined in terms of the management of this channel, and basically focused and work together on the production side of what I would hope will be quality content going forward. Like Big Daddy Kane would say back in the day. ain't no thing is half stepping. So that's kind of the methodology that we want to go with. Is he's kind of the same type of guy. He definitely wants to focus on quality. So that's kind of the quality assurance upgrade, I guess, going forward with this. So I think in a summary level, this is kind of the roll forward path for us. So I don't know, like now you guys know why I couldn't talk about it in detail in the prior video, is because this is a pretty big change going forward, and obviously rebranding and changes to the channel's image itself is going to be happening. So I think personally it's going to be very, very exciting. A lot of new topics and content style and stuff like that is going to open up, because Nolar and I are essentially going to be working together for this. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys are excited about the new change coming up. I think it's going to make things a lot more, not only efficient, but we're going to go back to having fun. I think that's ultimately what the importance of this change is essentially we're not going to look at this as a task orientation or stuff we have to do. We're literally just going to upload stuff we want to do. And that's pretty much our focus area for this. And that's pretty much the entire point of this change happening. So I think, with that being said, there might be an increase in excitement factor for me as well as Nolar. Hopefully, we can kind of just, work together and make things work. So we'll see what happens with the next video and official launch of the very first video for, I guess, the new way of the way, I guess. But hopefully you guys did kind of take in the information well. Leave me some feedback in terms of what you guys would want to see going forward with us. And this is kind of a new start, so obviously give us suggestions going forward of potentially what kind of things you would want us to work on, and have a frequency of uploads or whatever. So with that being said, I will go ahead and end things here. Hopefully you guys are excited about stuff going forward. I do appreciate you guys checking out the video today, and yeah, definitely stay tuned for the next one. We got a hidden gem for you coming up. All right, I'll see you guys.